Hey everybody, and welcome back to Investment Honey, where we talk about various crypto projects. Before we begin, let me just get a couple of reminders out of the way. I am not your financial advisor, and we never give advice or investment advice on the channel, ever. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and jump right into it. Again, if you are new here, somebody went ahead and told you that we're doing a series on Dexscreener and you want to learn some things or just see kind of what's being talked about, welcome. And just make sure that you go back to maybe the first video of the series to kind of give you an overview in terms of how things are going to go. But with that said, for those of you that have been here and following along, want to go back to one of the tokens that we talked about yesterday, which was tips with AI. When I set the alert for that one yesterday, one of the things that I said was, looking at the chart, I felt like it was going to go down. So this one, I went ahead and I had set so I've got the alerts, here, and I've got it set for recently triggered. Remember that you've got two different options here for recently created and recently triggered. So I've clicked on recently triggered, and so let's go through these. Okay, so here it is. So I wanted to alert me when the market cap, went under 66,000. So when I, saw this one, and actually this is a real-time chart, it's sitting at 79. You can see here, this is at 67, but I said that this was going to go down. So I don't remember what the actual market cap, was at the time that I sent the alerts, but I wanted it to trigger. So when I came back to look at it, it was sitting at 67. So it did go down as I thought it would based on what I was seeing on the chart. Not always going to be right about that, but I'm certainly not always going to be wrong, but in this case it did retrace, so keep in mind with those alerts, they are indicators, as I continue to reiterate, that when they trigger, you want to take a look, at the chart and, maybe go back into the community, maybe it's just going to be a situation where you're going to continue to watch, but again, that indicator gives you an idea in terms of, where the chart may be headed. With this one, a retracement doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to continue to go down, but it doesn't also mean that it's going to go back up. So again, it may be something where in that case, you may want to set another alert, revise the alert that you already set and triggered, or you may want to just sit and watch it, for a little bit, so that's, there's always options, whenever that takes place. Okay, so I'm going to close this out. And then we can see, the real-time chart, so even though we've had, some relatively large, sell candles. So we see one here, another one here, or I'm pointing here, and then here, and then we see a pretty large one here. This could be kind of scary for some folks. This could also include maybe some panic selling. And then we see, bounce back and then continued retracement. So here, again, does it look like maybe it's starting to break out here? Again, speculatively, I don't know. I know that when we took a look, at the community yesterday, I really couldn't make a hard assessment in terms of, what I was seeing. Saw some things that, I thought were positive, but at the end of the day, it was the chart that really just had me thinking like, I'm not sure where this is headed. So again, setting those indicators as far as the alerts are concerned, was helpful. But now we're sitting here. Now, I tend to think, that when you've got a buy candle like this, it's not real large, so there could be somebody willing to continue to go ahead and make another buy. But you also have to, I would also take a look, here in the transactions, so we've got a relatively large transaction here, and we've got a large transaction here as well, and a couple more here. And this one came from the same wallet. If you're not familiar with some of the other things you can do here in the buy transactions area, you can always hover over. You don't have to click on it, just hover over it, and you can see what this particular wallet bought, what they sold, what their P&L is. If you're not familiar with P&L, that's just their profit and loss, and then what's unrealized. And unrealized is basically what their profits are that they haven't taken yet. So this one so far, it looks like they've gone ahead and they've invested, over $2,300, and with additional buys on top of their buys, they're now sitting at $2,700 or almost $2,800, in profit. So yeah, that's something to keep in mind. When you are looking at a chart, you can also take a look, at what's, going on more prescriptively, in the buy transactions area, and you can see what's going on here. So again, and it looks like it's just one wallet. So we've got this wallet. There's one transaction, two transactions, same one, another transaction. So three of them that make up those buys. So if I'm looking at that, my thought is I'm going to continue to watch, because those three buys, and I think it's three out of 4 buys. If there aren't any buys that come after this, what's going to happen? More than likely, you could, you could speculate that person's just going to go ahead and sell those tokens, and that creates, another sell candle. So with this one, again, this is the kind of one where I'm probably going to continue to watch to see, what happens with it. Since the alert triggered already, so where were we? Tips AI. Okay, so remember, it goes ahead and it disables them, when they trigger. So I'm going to go in, I'm going to edit it. And since we're sitting at 78 on the market cap, I honestly think, because there's only 3 out of 4 buys, coming, or three of the 4 buys are coming from the same wallet, that if there aren't more buys, I think that person's probably going to go ahead and sell. So to me, let's go ahead and let's set this. If we're sitting at 78, I'm going to set this at 60, because I think personally that it could go down. And even if it does go up, given how much that person has gone ahead and put into this particular token, if there isn't a bunch of buy pressure, and even looking at the chart comparatively to yesterday, I don't really see a ton of buy pressure. So I personally think it's likely that person's probably going to go ahead and let go of these tokens. So that's what my guess is, but I could be right, could be wrong. So we're going to close this one out. I think we already set the alert, didn't we? Yes, we did. Okay. So, and then the other one I have here that I want to check in on was Doge Sun. This one, like I said yesterday, been watching this one for some days. Let me see here. We can see that this did trigger, alert me when the market cap goes over 140,000. So right now it's sitting at 140, but it did go over it. Okay, so I'm going to continue to keep an eye on this one. I'm going to set another, or actually, let me just go back here. And we're going to edit this alert, because you don't have to set a new one. You can just edit the one you already have. And we're going to set this one for 155. I want to see some more movement before I make any kind of further assessment on this one. So we've already got our checks here. Market cap goes over 155. We're going to click save. No. And so now it reactivates, that alert. Okay. So we're going to close this out. But again, right now, could this be the start of an uptrend? Maybe, so we'll have to just go ahead and continue to watch to see. I'm going to close this one out, and then we're going to get into, setting our filters, for the day, at least for this particular video. Let's do this. So let's take a look at Solana and Ethereum today, and we're going to set our market cap. So we're going to our standard 50, and I think we'll go 250 today. Okay, and pair age. I think we're going to look at new tokens today. So let's do a 1 to 8 hour max. Remember, Dexscreener is not going to let you set anything under an hour. So we're going to start with 1 hour to 8 hours. So keep in mind, guys, whenever we're looking for new tokens, we're likely going to run into more scams. So just be aware of that. Oops, sorry, I am doing that wrong. Okay, going to go to the 24-hour here, and we're going to go to at least 10% change on the 24-hour, even though they're new tokens, but I don't want to see anything that doesn't have at least a 10% positive gain. Okay, so here we go. We're going to go ahead and tick on this 24-hour here. And remember, I like to customize this, so we're going to get rid of price, transactions, volume, makers. Again, it's just my own personal preference. You guys are free to do whatever you want as far as what you want to see, on your screen. But I just think there's so much information that doesn't really matter to me in terms of what I am looking for, that there's just going to be some stuff that I want to get rid of. Just to kind of make this a bit easier for me to read personally. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger, and we've already got the 24-hour ticked, so we can see, what we've got here, 17 tokens that fall within, the filters that we set. Okay, and the other thing is, guys, if you're new here, I'm going to come back out a little bit. If you're new here, I try, I get it that we're focusing on filters, but for what we're doing, I don't really need to focus on everything else that's here, okay? And this is just on the 5-minute chart, the 1 hour, the 6 hour, and the 24-hour, okay? So I don't really need to mess around with a lot of this other stuff. But what we're trying to do, we're trying to go ahead and spot, some tokens early, and this is pretty much going to be our bread and butter in terms of what we're focusing on, with the exception, to making sure that we put that 10% at least. And that's just what I do. If you want to put, you want to see at least a 1% gain, that's completely fine. That's up to you. I just typically like to see at least 10%, and that's just my own personal preference. I don't necessarily have a strict rationale or reason, for that. But 10% just, it works for me. So, all right. But with that being said, we're going to come back here and we're going to take a look at what we got. So again, I think we were okay now. And keep in mind, Dexscreener, it does auto update, so you don't have to refresh the screen, which is nice, about Dexscreener. So we're going to open up some tokens and let's see what we got going on. All right. And yeah, we'll do 6. Okay. So here we go. We're going to take a quick look, at some charts. Okay. So for this, I'm actually going to make this a bit smaller so we can see the charts a little bit better. Okay. So we can see we've got tokens mintable. This token is freezable. So with these, whenever we see these, it's an automatic no. That automatically means scam. So we're going to get rid of that. And remember, on newer tokens, we're probably going to see more of that. On newer tokens, the 1 hour is just, too large. We're not going to see enough of the candle. So we're going to go out to the 5 minute. Okay. So that's what we want to see. We want to see more of the chart. All right. So I'm going to do that right away. And this one, another one that's freezable, and just looking at the chart pattern. This is one that I would avoid, and you would know that, if you've been following along in any of the other videos, that typically if I'm seeing something like this, or if I'm seeing this flag, it's an automatic no. Okay, so on SVJ, that's a no. And this one, Alphon Fusk, I guess is what it's called. This one's mintable and this one's freezable. So remember, on the newer tokens, you're going to see more scams. That is not unusual. This one, okay, we're going out to the 5 minutes. So, and here with this one, we're going out, okay, we're on 5 minutes. So this one's actually, this one looks pretty healthy. Okay, so we've got 3 that we've got here. And this one's at a 57K, but the chart is like completely flattened out. Probably because of this big candle here, which, threw the whole chart out of whack, but we'll come back and look at that. So, okay, we got 3 open out of the 6 tabs that we started with. And this one's called Hood Rat. So we see that we've got a pretty decent launch candle. We see some retracement. The lows, they're kind of hanging out in the same, support line area. However, do I think it's going to continue to retrace? Looking at the pattern on the chart, my first thought would be that, yeah, we're probably going to see continued retracement on this. And then if you even look, in this informational area, we see just negatives across the board on the 5 minute, the 1 hour, and the 6 hour. But the 24 hour, obviously we see that big number here, but a lot of that's going to be attributed to this launch and where it went on launch, because we haven't seen the same pressure, after that. Okay, so that's just, my little bit of information, as far as looking at the chart right away. We're going to take a look at the Telegram and see what's going on in there. Okay, so here we go. And do we have a portal? We do get a portal. Okay, so I do like the artwork here. All right, so we're going to tap to verify. Okay, we'll leave that. And so here we go. All right, so what do we got going on? This is by Matt Fury. Okay, and Matt Fury is a big name as far as like, different memes, in crypto. Okay, so let's see what they got going on in the I was going to say hood rat, but in the pinned messages. So we see that we got voting. It started, we've talked about this before through the major buy bot, so if you as a community vote for your token, basically once you get enough votes, then you qualify, for trending. Okay, so at least I think that's how it works. And still looking for any kind of information. This is just a Dex, they're not the Dex sniffer, but the token sniffer. So they got a score of 100 over 100. Okay, and they say that Vitalik holds 3%. Probably went ahead and sent that to him just so he can hold some supply. Let's see, trending number 1 on buy bots. Okay, And then we see here 40 minutes and trending 29 on Dexsniffer, or Dexscreener. Man, I'm getting my words twisted this morning. So again, and here, and I think, when you look at that last pin message that we saw, that may also have contributed, to what they saw, on launch. Okay, and then we see somebody forwarding a message, basically showing it to their community is what I would guess. Okay. All right, so trending paid, so they were trending, not sure if they're still trending. Okay. And then Mad Apes, as well. Some people consider that to be a good thing. Some people don't. Just depends on your thoughts in regards to Mad Apes. I don't really have any thoughts whatsoever. Boost, so they paid for a boost, so there are things they are doing, without question, as far as trying to get the token some additional exposure. Here's the problem. I just don't know that it's working because, again, there's been continued retracement, and it looks like, every time that you saw, some buys, there were big sells, so yeah, that would be something that kind of concerns me in regards to this. However, that doesn't mean that the token can't turn around. So what does that mean for us? We're going to go ahead and set some alerts here. And remember, as always, we're going to set 2 alerts. We're going to go straight to market cap. We don't pay attention to USD or the price of the native token. Now, if that's what you want to do, you go right on ahead. For me personally, I'm not doing that. Okay, so we're at 109, and I think that if this maybe moves, I want to see this kind of get out of this retracement area. So I'm going to deviate a bit more from what I would typically set. So I want to see this get to 130. If it can get to 130, that might start to get my attention, on this one. Okay, and then we're also going to set another one. And this one, I think if this heads down to maybe the 75K arena, that this one might be done. Just because, again, if you got you've got trending paid for, you've got the boost, you've also got the community trying to vote, through the major, major bot. If you can't get out of this, this 100K arena with all that going on, there just might not be enough of a positive sentiment, for the token for it to continue to do anything or gain any traction. So, okay, so we're going to go ahead and close that one out. And here, kind of curious about this one, Solana. I do like the name, just to see what's going on in the community. I mean, I can still see, we're going to move this up, I can still see some buys and sells. At least it's not like a wall, of sells. So I'm curious to see what's going on in the community as far as this one's concerned. So we're going to open this up. Okay, we do get a portal. Okay, so we're going to launch. And the other thing I want to say in regards to these portals, if you ever get, because I saw this in a Telegram, in a channel yesterday, if you ever come into one of these and they're asking for you to put in your phone number, that is a scam. So once again, here, let me pause real quick. So once again, if you ever get into one of these safeguard portals and they're ever asking you for a phone number or asking you for personal information, get out of that token right away. That's a scam. That's an indication of a scam. So I just never know who's watching these videos, so if you're absolutely brand new or newer to the space and you haven't come across that yet, just know that's a red flag. Safeguard or any of these portals will never ask for any personal information. And if they do, you already know that's definitely a scam, and you don't want to experience getting your wallets drained because of being fooled by a safeguard that you thought was legitimate and they were asking for personal information. So that's just some good information for you, especially if you're new to crypto, that you do not want to enter any personal information in a safeguard portal entry. Okay, so we're going to join the group here. All right, so okay, all right, this is just welcoming me to the channel. Okay, so we've got over 1,200 members. All right, let's see what's going on here in the pin messages. Okay, let's see here in the snipers. Okay, so apparently they had some snipers go ahead and get in here, and so we can see Anonymous here sending a message to his group that, and I didn't know that he actually went ahead and did this one, but either way, I guess snipers, went ahead and nuked the project. So they must have had a higher market cap if he's putting that message out there. So this is also good to see that you've got people that are actively, sending messages. And since we've been in here, there's already been 22 messages, so that's good to see that there is good activity, even as we're entering this channel. Okay, so let's see here. We've got a bunch of members. Yep, absolutely. So, and they're saying that this is the top Solana meme coin, on Reddit. That's also helpful because Reddit's a pretty good platform. Okay, lots of marketing, for it. Okay, all right. So, and again, messages are still coming in. Looks like buys are still coming in. So this is good to see, right? So I take that as a positive signal. Okay, and we're going to head back. All right, so we're going to close this out. So it looks like they've done some stuff, as far as the marketing is concerned. However, I think since we came in here, this did go down a little bit. I don't remember what the market cap was. I thought it was over 50. So, but this may be one where I think based on just the activity in the channel, and I wouldn't necessarily focus so much, here on the fact that the chart, is flatline. I think, again, I think there was probably somebody got mev'd, and that led to that huge spike, on the chart. But you can always zoom in on the chart and to actually see what's going on with the individual buy and sell candles as well. So that's all I did, was that I used the scroller on my mouse and I just zoomed in so I could get a much better look in terms of what's going on in terms of the Satoshis, the candles on the chart. Okay. So, and remember, like I said, I think in the first video I did in the series, there is a delay between what you see here and then what you see up here. So it's not at 48K, it's actually at 46. And you can also see that's translating, to the sell candles that we're seeing, here on the chart. So I think for this one, if we set an alert, okay, I'm not necessarily interested in seeing this, in setting an alert for it to go down. I know typically we set 2 alerts, one that goes over, one that goes under. Because of where the market cap is, I'm only interested in seeing this one go up. So I would want to see this one hit at least maybe 60,000 before I started really kind of paying attention to this one. Okay, so we're going to leave this one alone because I actually think, based on what I'm seeing right now, there's going to be more retracement on this. And I want indicators that show me that there's going to be consistent, a reversal in terms of what's going on in terms of the buy transactions. Okay, so we're looking at, and I don't even know how to pronounce this, Asamimi, maybe? Asamimi, that's what we'll call it for the video. Okay, so we see that we've got a pretty, decent chart. However, this is interesting. Their launch, seemed to be, it was okay. But man, at this point, and this is the kind of thing that scares you, when it comes to new tokens. This right here, it looks like a rug. When you see this kind of sell candle, if it was me, I'd have been done, at that point, if I was actually in this one, because this looks like a straight up rug. So the fact that this token has recovered from this kind of sell candle is interesting. And I would almost speculate that this might actually be more community than anything. And that's without knowing anything about the token, so let's take a look, at the community, because this is very interesting to me. You typically don't see this. When you get this kind of sell candle and that there's still buy pressure that leads to, if you got in here to be able to get back up to here, like that's pretty impressive actually. So I'm going to check out the channel. So let's see what's going on here. All right, so we got a portal. Let's go ahead and let's verify. Let's get the link. Let's get in there. Okay, so here we are, and let's see what they got going on here. So they made it to number 7 on Dexscreener. That's actually pretty good. Number 8, number 9. Okay, so they actually, maybe they got, maybe they were trending. I have no idea. Okay, they've got a meme channel. Okay, so Dex Tools is paid. Okay, so they got a boost in ads. I think that probably helped them for sure. And I don't know when they paid for that. I don't know if it was at the bottom or what. I have no idea. That's just all speculation at this point. So they got a lot of attention, so either way, it looks like they've done some things to try to go ahead and get some more exposure, for this particular token. All right, so, and they're still getting, let's see here, this is at 303. I don't know if I saw, okay. So they're still getting some buys, which is good. Obviously, we can see that represented here in the chart. So I don't know, for me, looking at this one, I don't necessarily, as I look at this chart, would have loved an entry down here, right? Would have loved that. But here, do I think it's going to retrace some more? I don't know. So I think obviously, you see that retracement here, you see big retracement here. And I think this is more likely, if it follows the pattern that I'm seeing here, it's probably going to retrace a bit before, as far as like some consolidation before maybe, trying to head back up. And that's assuming that you continue to see the interest and the buy pressure, that's led to them being able to recover, from a sell candle like this. So what we'll do, we're going to set some alerts again, and we're going to go for, let's do 3:30. Okay. We're going to create that alert, and then we're going to, let's see here. So we're at 306, or this is saying 317, which is actually probably higher than that. So I'm going to say maybe if it goes to 285, take a look and see what that's looking like, so. Okay, so 2 alerts have been set there, and we're going to close that out. Okay, so let's see what else we got going on. I'll try not to, we'll go through another set, and then we'll go ahead and we'll close out the video just to see what else is going on today. Okay, so this one, I don't think we saw this one earlier, so I'm going to open that one up. Person of the year. So actually, this one's an interesting one. Yeah, let's open this one up because I saw this yesterday, but I didn't see it, on Radium first. I saw it on Pump Fun. So yeah, let's start with those two. So Purple Doge. Okay, this one chart looks pretty decent. Actually, looks like they saw some retracement here, but it looks like a pretty good stair climber. Okay, Purple Doge. I actually like, what they got going on here in the banner. That looks pretty good. Okay, and let's see here. Been alive for how long? For about 4 hours. Okay, so we're going to check out their channel. Let's see what we got going on here. Okay, so we're looking for, I don't know. So is there an actual portal? Yeah. Okay, yep. So we got a portal. So if we don't see one like we typically would, normally, just go ahead and, if they've got it pinned, that usually indicates they do have a portal, so yeah, so we're going to go ahead and join the group. Okay, so they got a VC going, 24 members. That's always positive, especially if you've got people that, are talking, and you've got, like I said, a pretty decent number of people in the VC. We can see that they're trending. We can see buys just flowing in. We've got raids going, and that's without even touching any of the pinned messages, so yeah, I think that I like to see a lot of communication in pinned messages. That's just something that I like to see personally. It tells me that the team is active, especially seeing that, complemented, by the video chat, and the raids going. I think, those are, and I don't really need to go through a ton more, the pinned messages to go ahead and know that, hey, this might be one to go ahead and pay attention to. However, I like, as I'm not a fan of buying the tops of candles, but there is some retracement already. Okay. So I'd want to, is 59K that bad? No. But I'd say maybe if I was looking to go ahead and jump into this, I'd want to see this maybe a little bit lower, so maybe I'd want to target something like, 55K or maybe a 50K. So let's see. I mean, because even though it looks now, all charts, when they're getting buys, they always look good, right? But when they're getting sells and they don't look good, so I'd want to go ahead and see maybe a bit more sells before maybe I'd want to, reevaluate and possibly take an entry in something like this. Okay, so I need to set this for goes under. So that's going to be my alert there. And then goes over. So this is moved to 61. So we're going to say, let's see here, maybe if it touches 70, because again, at this point, it's still very much, a micro cap, low cap, kind of token. So, all right, so that's where I'm setting it at. Okay, so we're going to leave this one alone. And then taking a look at this one, like I said, I saw this on Pump Fun at like 15K. Okay, but it was days ago, or it was, so I mean, this is showing the 12th. So this is actually a new one. Okay. Oh, no, never mind. It's not a new one. This is the one that I saw. So, because obviously when you look at a chart on Radium, it's not going to show you, actually, what was taking place, on Pump Fun, right? So, but yeah, actually this one was one that started on Radium. At least I believe so. And I don't know, maybe this is a token that somebody else started, after the one that I saw on Radium. But either way, it's still called the same thing. It was called, POTI, which is P-O, P for person, O for F, T for the, Y for year. So I don't know, maybe this is a different one. But either way, like I said, it was called the very same token. It was on Pump Fund. It was sitting at 15K for like 3 days. And then all of a sudden it just took off out of nowhere. And it bonded within a couple of minutes. And then it went straight to almost 600K. So looking at this one, again, I'm looking at the chart. It looks like the one that I saw, because obviously this one did, make a pretty decent rise up, but this, like I said, I could be wrong, just because when I'm looking at the chart here, if this is 270 and this is the pricing here at 0.002582, then this looks like this one went over 1 million. Okay. And that would be different than the one that I saw yesterday. So, and even looking here, it's showing December 12th, so I think I'm wrong. I think it's just the same token name, but it's not the same one that I saw yesterday. But again, it was called Person of the Year. But either way, I just want to highlight to you that sometimes, in Pump Fund, I don't really, a lot of people, have their thoughts and views in regards to Pump Fund because there's so many tokens that never make it to Radium, and even when they get to Radium, they don't do well. But if you can find, one that actually can bond, and there seems like it's been around for a little bit, sometimes the sentiment's there, for these tokens to go ahead and take off, so either way, I know that's a bit of a rant, but I wanted to bring that up because what I saw yesterday was absolutely it was nuts that it went from 15K to almost 600K in a matter of minutes. So, but either way, let's take a look, at the Telegram since I have digressed a bit. Okay, so here we are. We're going to go ahead and verify, launch. Okay, let's see what's going on here. Okay, human verification. Nothing unusual yet. There's a lot of steps to this one. It's kind of got me a little concerned. Okay, so this is exactly what I was talking about. I'm so glad this actually showed up. So this is what I was talking about earlier, as far as like the scam. So this, if you ever see something like this, where you're supposed to, log in by scanning a QR code, or log in by your phone number, this is straight up a scam, guys. Do not touch this with a 10-foot pole. All right, so we're going to X out of this because there's no way on earth. This is for sure going to go ahead and drain your wallet. Okay, I was wondering, why am I going through so many steps to go ahead and get in here? All right, so yeah, definitely don't want to touch this. So we're going to actually report this sucker. Okay, scam or spam. And phishing, add additional comments. Okay, I'm going to say asking for phone number. Which indicates a scam. Let's do this. Sorry, I can't type real quick. I ended up, having an injury to my hand. So either way, so we're reporting this one. All right. So yeah. So we're definitely not touching that. Okay. Either way, let's go ahead and let's go back to where we were. Okay. So this is a scam, guys. All right. So I don't know I don't know why they're even getting buys on this. So if people were silly enough to go ahead and put their phone number or scan that QR code. Okay, so like I said, I'm so glad that we saw that because for anybody that's new or if you haven't seen that scam before, that's exactly what that is. Okay, moving forward, let's see what else we got. Let's open up just a few more before we call it a day on this one. Yeah, sure, we'll open that one up and we'll open this one up. Okay, so what do we got here? This chart actually looks pretty decent, actually. And let's see what else we got here. This one hasn't opened up yet, so I'm just going to close that one out. And this one, the chart doesn't look terrible here either. So, okay, let's take a look at the Telegram. And here we go. Okay, so here we are. I'm not going to join the group just because I already got a bunch of these already open over here. But we see 124 members. We got 12 online. Okay. And let's see. Let's take a look at what's going on here in the pin messages. All right, so we got some raids going. Okay, the Cherry raid. Just a few pin messages actually. So they updated. The Dexscreener. This is actually a CTO. So this is community takeover project. Okay, and we still got buys coming in. I know sometimes we'll take a look. Like the time frame in between buys. But if I come into a community and I'm already seeing the buy bot, that's going, we're seeing buys coming in. I don't really need to go ahead and take a look at the time frame between the buys. Okay, so we're going to go back to the chart. Okay, so we're going to close that out. And like I said, this actually looks, pretty interesting, in terms of looking at the pattern. It doesn't look like a bad pattern at all. Even though we see some retracements, we see the buys still coming in. We see retracement here and buys still coming in. So we're at 160. I'm going to go ahead and set some alerts, so we're going to go straight to market cap, and we're going to, I want to see this one, break out of that area. So let's set it, it's at 175. Okay, and then we're going to say, since we're at 160, I don't know, maybe if it drops to 140, they want to come back and take a look at this and reevaluate what's going on and my interest, particularly in this token. So we're going to close that out. And then we're also going to take a look here. All right, so let's take a look at their community and see what's going on. Okay, so we get this portal, and see on the last one, the Person of the Year token, it didn't even show my history of already having opened up, other portals, other safeguard portals. So that was that was also something that was like, what's going on with this? So anytime you come back in, and you should be opening up a new portal, and you guys know sometimes I'll go and I'll clear it out, but you should be able to see when you open up a new one, your history of other portals that you've opened up, through Safeguard. Okay, so we can see here, all right, we're still getting buys coming through. So like I said, I don't need to go ahead and take a look at the timestamp. Okay, and then we're going to take a look, right away at our pinned messages, so we see raids. Okay, they're a community run token. All right, it's not a CTO. They're just saying that, they're run by the community. Okay, so we got a link tree, but not much really being said here in terms of even how they would push the token. So that's my first concern, as far as this token is concerned. And anytime you see like this buy candle right here, you're always, like I've said before, you're typically going to see, some retracement, because I haven't seen a chart where you see big buy candles, excuse me, where they're allowed to just stay there and people continue to buy them up. At some point, they're going to sell. And when those sales take place, either you're going to see sales that'll retrace at least halfway down the candle, or you may see sales that retrace all the way down the candle, depending on what's going on with the token. So here with this one, I'm going to go to under first, and I'm going to go, okay, sorry, I should have gone to market cap first. All right, so here, I'm going to actually set this at 80K, which I know is a larger retracement, but that's just what I'm thinking. And then going over, so we're at 120, I'd say maybe if we can get to 145, that might be interesting. Okay, so yeah, that's what I'm going to do there. And with that said, I think we're going to call it a day. We've gone through several tokens. You obviously looked at newer ones today. And like I said, when you're looking at the newer ones, you're going to run into, more scams. I mean, it's just an automatic. So, and the other thing, for this is that I went ahead and I chose to log in, so I logged in, today, just so you could, understand that in Brave, because one of the things I mentioned yesterday was that, because I tried a different browser, was it Brave, because I'm seeing on my phone that we've got some Dexscreener triggers, but it hasn't triggered in Brave. So I think Firefox is one where you typically see the alerts or the triggers show up, more consistent. Not even more consistently. I mean, they show up very consistently, in that browser. But I like utilizing Brave, for the videos. But there have already been some triggers, so just be mindful of that, that I would encourage you to log in, and it gives you a few different options, for you to log in for Dexscreener. And what it will do, it will sync any of your alerts across all your devices and browsers. So that's something that you definitely want to do. Especially, if you're on mobile, or you're using different browsers like I do, and you don't want to miss any of the triggers, definitely log in and it will sync it across, all of your browsers and mobile. Okay, so with that being said, thank you guys again for watching. We'll see if any of these do anything, as far as today and tomorrow before we go ahead and do the next video for tomorrow. If you saw anything that you thought that maybe you want to go ahead and take an entry in, I mean, obviously that's up to you. You know what the filters were that we used today. If you want to use the same or use something different on your end, that's okay too. So again, as we do this, it's always about trying to go ahead and see what we can find, and maybe we'll discover some stuff that's going to take off. Who knows? But that's the joy. And you know, what makes it, you know, what makes navigating Dexscreener so interesting is that you don't know what you're going to come across. And the nice thing about doing this is that we're not relying on somebody else to do it for us, that we're able to try to find some stuff, you know, before another community or influencer shows them to you. So thanks again so much for watching, guys, and you guys take care until next time. Bye-bye.